Can you see the slide?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. We'll have time for questions later, of course. I can't know whether you have an idea about the Erasmus program, or you haven't heard of it, or you haven't participated in it. So at least you probably know that Erasmus is how should I say, a signature program for the European Union. It's been here around since 1989, I think, and so more than 30 years, and it's grown considerably, and its budget is colossal. It has different actions within the program, but we'll talk about the key action one, or mobility of individuals, and that's you, because that's our aim, to let you know what the opportunities for mobilities abroad are in our partner institutions. By the way, this information meeting takes place today because we have the annual Erasmus Days. These Erasmus Days, the 13th, 14th, and 15th of October, celebrate the Erasmus program and are aimed at fun and spreading information about the Erasmus program and motivating as many students as possible to participate. And that's what our mission is, actually. So today we had an Erasmus Days event. So that is with a treasure hunt. Maybe some of you were present there. I can't know you by names, but I think you had fun with this treasure hunt in spite of the rain, although, there's no such thing as bad weather. Anyway, it was part of more than 5,000 events around Europe, and actually probably outside Europe as well, in more than 80 countries. So we're part of a big thing. This was the treasure hunt announcement. I'm sure that if we didn't have rain anyway, we would have more participants and even more audience at the site. Anyway, fun was fun, and everyone was very enthusiastic about this. So we're very glad. And fun part aside, now we have the information meeting where I'd like you to share a little bit more about the Erasmus program and some news about it. You know very well that Erasmus program, the hard Erasmus program, is the mobilities or exchange of students and teachers for that matter, but we'll focus on students and PhD students across partners within or partner higher educational institutions within Europe and now already outside Europe. These, as we call them, mobilities, can be mobilities for studies, and that will be a mobility where you spend a semester or two abroad at a partner university. Or it could be a mobility for traineeship, where you spend part of your traineeship at the end of your studies, again, abroad. We already have finances for this. Each year we apply and we get or usually get financed for what we foresee as number of mobility that would be able to realize and to have. And so there's certainly enough funds to finance any of you who would like to realize a mobility next academic year. Now, actually, this project that runs at the moment runs for 2 years, which is a new thing. They used to be just for 1 year, and then there will be another one next year. So I think we'll be able to cover any of you wishing to go abroad. Now, the Erasmus program facilitates such mobilities because it is structured so that we have close contacts within the universities and strict protocols, for exchanging information and organizing this mobility, but also you get funding, so you get grants for your mobility, for studies or traineeship. If you go for studies, depending on the country where you go, there's 3 groups, you get from either 540 or 600 euros per month, which is usually enough. But if you go for a traineeship, you get an additional 150 euros per month, which is usually enough. Transport costs are not covered usually, except for students with health problems or handicapped. There's certain conditions, but usually not covered. Now, there's a new rule. So the Erasmus program now allows for some, or provides some funding for, let's call it eco traveling. So if you use a car, a bus, or a train, you get 50 euros in addition, and individual support for the 2 or 4 extra days that supposedly be needed for your travels. So you'll get proportional grants for those days as well. So Erasmus goes eco and tries to stimulate that as well. So this is a new thing. Another new thing for the Erasmus programs are the so-called blended mobilities. This is where you spend a period of your mobility physically present at the receiving institution, but then this is a short period compared to the usual Erasmus mobility, and you come back and you actually continue with an online component. I'm not sure that this is very feasible for the way that our program or our medical, dental studies and so forth and our universities are set up. It's usually more appropriate, I think, for some universities that have modules. But anyway, this is an opportunity, and we'll look into it and we'll keep an eye on it and whether we can also use it. What we're thinking at with the within our university is to promote and see whether that is also feasible for you, for students, after 3rd or 4th year of medical studies, to have their summer internships spent as an Erasmus mobility abroad, or maybe the country you come from or so forth. Now, your nurse, let's say, practical internships over the summer, according to our program, take 30 days or 4 weeks. And an Erasmus mobility for traineeships is a minimum of 2 months, twice as long. And still, however, if you're able and you have a yes from a receiving institution to spend 2 months within which we actually realize your internship as regard here within a receiving institution, that'll be fine, and we'll make efforts to help you realize that. So after your summer exam session, for example, you go straight away for a summer internship, spend 2 months, and even if you need to come a week after the start of the next semester, I think we'll be able to accommodate that. So I have to think about it. There's still time to think about it until we have the next selection next spring, but I think it's a very good opportunity. Now, have in mind that what I'm talking about next spring, we have the so-called selection procedure. So we have a strict protocol of applying for an Erasmus mobility, and you have to, I would say that there's certain criteria that you need to fulfill in order to be eligible for an Erasmus mobility. The selection procedure is quite transparent, and what we really care about is that your grade is above 4 and you don't have any failed exams, especially before going for the mobility, but also when applying. Look into that. These are probably the most objective criteria we have. This is all information that you can get from our site at the Erasmus subsection of the university site. Now, I would like also to turn your attention to a very good opportunity because the Erasmus program finances mobilities for traineeships also for students who have just graduated or within 1 year of their graduation. And in these cases, it's really easy, I would say, to organize a mobility because we don't have to think about compatibility of study programs because you've already graduated. And that means you can go for months for a mobility for traineeship abroad, whatever your wish is. I mean, for whatever department your wish is. So look into that if you're approaching the end of your studies. And there's certainly enough opportunities, I would say, because we have bilateral agreements based on which we can send students to the respective partners. And there are 137 higher education institutions within Europe and outside Europe, in 36 countries, where we have partners, or which are our partners. I would just point out that several years ago, it was only our European program, but now we have the opportunity to send also students outside Europe. I would say, for example, in Siberia, like Tomsk, we have a mobility agreement with them, and they can accept two students, not only PhD students, but students of medicine. Keep an eye on our partners, as well as the list of partners we have within and outside Europe can be updated. So we usually have a selection procedure in the spring. It is widely announced and on the site and Facebook groups and so forth. So you won't miss it. But if you're interested and if you're here for this information meeting, you can, I'm certain you keep an eye on it, and you actually, and I encourage you to gather information beforehand so you can be more prepared and, about this procedure and what to do next. And we are here to help you through this process. I mean, it is the Erasmus office. Actually, the Erasmus program, of course, is overseen by the rector, but it is within the domain of the vice rector of international cooperation projects, Professor Vicheva. I'm responsible for it as an Erasmus Plus institutional coordinator, and you can always turn to our experts who are here to help you with all the information you might need. Sofia Goneva, Tanya Kutrianska, Petya Ivanova. We're based at the rectorate. The Erasmus office is at the rectorate building, but you can also contact us via mails at all times. Now, there's a lot of information you might need. We'll have you have the opportunity to ask questions now and later, of course, via these emails. But before I give you the floor for some questions, I would again ask if Stefan is around.
Yes, he is.
Yes, and you are. Hello again. All right. I give you the floor so you can share again your experience. Thanks. I appreciate it.